Welcome to Have I Got News for You? I'm Sue Perkins, and in the news this week, at a palace reception, one footman is guaranteed promotion after smuggling in some neat gin. Arriving home from his local branch of B&Q, a Stockport man realises he's made that classic mistake of leaving something on the roof and driving off. And in Leicester Square, a very thoughtful, new conceptual artwork depicts the special relationship between Sir Keir Starmer and Donald Trump. On Ian's team tonight is an American comedian who, in 2018, was strongly criticised for her Donald Trump jokes at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. Good job she didn't do it this year, as she'd now be doing this show from a maximum security mega prison in El Salvador. Please welcome the wonderful Michelle Wolf. And on Paul's team tonight, a journalist for The Times who recently claimed that the BBC is never happier than when in self-flagellation mode. Can you blame us? We're awful. This set alone cost billions. What a waste. Please welcome Tom Peck. So we shall begin with the bigger news stories of the week. Now, Ian and Michelle, here's yours.
That's Mark Carney, who's won. Have I got moose for you? And that's the real winner of the election, who swung it for Canada. Are you pleased, Michelle?
Oh, I think Canada, who I've never actually particularly liked.
Oh.
I love now, yeah. Mark Carney, he used to be a banker.
Yes.
And I feel like this is the first time ever that a banker isn't the villain.
Well, we've got some form with Mark Carney, because he was in charge of the Bank of England.
Yes.
And according to Liz Truss, he was personally responsible for the economy collapsing.
You nailed it, because that was indeed Donald Trump unwittingly having an influence on the Canadian general election.
Can't use those words together, Donald Trump unwittingly. It's an oxymoron without the oxy.
The pro-Trump Conservative candidate lost a 25-point lead, and that handed victory, of course, to the Liberal Party leader, Mark Carney.
Well, it is an object lesson. Populists are not always popular, which is a great ray of sunshine in the world. It doesn't really go well with people on the whole when you tell them you're going to take over their country. That tends to make people who say, no, you're not, really popular.
I do like that Trump is, I hope I'm not speaking out of turn, not the most attractive man.
You're alone there, sweetheart.
Yeah. And I think Mark Carney is a bit attractive, and it's nice to have someone who's not bad to look at in politics again.
It's such a low bar, isn't it? Mark Carney expressed his delight at his victory in French. Does anybody know what he said?
The French do.
I would argue it was Canadian French, just for any French people out there.
Sort of Quebecois.
Yeah, because most French people are like, that's not French. But the French are very understanding.
He said, bonsoir, oh, quel bonsoir. Classic Del Boy French, that. Some hard-fought contests in this election, actually. Did you see who the Green Party leader had to beat to win the seat of the Saanich Gulf Islands?
You know, we didn't.
All right, let's have a look. There you go.
You see, he's a good-looking man.
He may have lost to the Greens, but look, he wiped the floor with Colin Plant. Ironically, not agreeing with that name. So my favourite result was, however, here. This, of course, is the result for Côte du Sud, Rivière de Loup, Catascomique, Témiscouata.
Yes.
Now, none of us know whether that's right or not.
Yeah. I think it's the French bit of Canada, that bit. I hope they don't have an ice hockey team. Give us a C! So you are, I presume, all familiar with Donald Trump's YMCA dance?
Yes.
Have you seen
Oh,
that?
yes.
Yeah. It looks like he's grabbing an imaginary penis in both hands and just...
I always just thought he looked like he was drying himself with a towel.
Oh, that?
Yeah.
Yes, he does. You're right, he does do. Yes, you're right. It is much more like, what have I been doing?
It's clearly not his penis, because there would have to be...
Well, to be fair, if he's getting it up that high, I think he should get a round of applause.
Do you want to see Mark Carney celebrating how he danced?
Yeah.
Yes.
Let's have a look.
I saw that footage of him dancing and I thought, actually, that guy's pretty cool. And then I realised it's definitely all over for me.
Do you Americans make jokes about the Canadians? Do you have any standard sort of...
I mean, to be honest, it's really going to sound like I'm piling on Canada, but we don't think about it too much.
Have you heard the Canadian lobster joke?
No.
A man goes into a seafood restaurant and there are 2 tanks full of lobsters. He's told by the waiter that the tank of American lobsters has a lid on it because they're always trying to fight their way out to freedom. The tank of Canadian lobsters doesn't need a lid because as soon as one lobster tries to climb out, the others all put him back in. That's a Canadian joke. So sorry, I need a captivated Paul.
Help, I'm being held captive in a TV studio. I've been asked to read the order queue against my will. I should never have left British Bake Off. That'll teach you.
That will teach me. How has Donald Trump been celebrating his first 100 days?
By lying through his teeth and telling people how wonderful it is. And when the stock market was doing really well last year, when Biden was president, he claimed it was Trump's own sort of credit because people knew he was going to become president. And now that it's tanking, he's saying it's Biden's fault.
Exactly that.
Yeah.
I just don't get why he has to make this stuff up, right? 100 days in, look at the weather. Absolutely glorious. 100 days ago, freezing.
Yeah.
No one gives him any credit.
No.
Fake news media.
He's made the weather great again.
Absolutely.
Particularly nice to say it's the worst 100 days for any president ever, and he's also been president before.
He's out Trump.
Yeah.
What did he spend a quarter of his time doing in the 100 days?
Playing golf.
Yes, playing golf.
Exactly right. He played golf for 24 days out of 100.
Oh, I was going to say spending time with his children, who he loves so much. Sorry, Eric.
Eric makes me sad to look at.
He really does, yeah. You can tell in his face that he's never been hugged.
His eyes are like a whirlpool of misery. Captivating. He has very recently signed something. I'm talking the minerals deal, so he's...
Oh, yes, with Ukraine, yes.
He's just signed that.
And again, I mean, this was a deal which he told us a great deal about beforehand, and then when it actually appeared, it's not quite what he said. He said, well, Ukraine going to have to pay back all the billions we've given them to defend themselves, and actually, that's not what's going to happen.
Yes, the other day he boasted that he'd made over 200 deals with other countries in the world, but there are only 196 countries in the world. So he's made the deal 4 times with one country, which he shouldn't have bothered. Maybe it's the one with the penguins.
Yeah.
Let's have a look at him at the Pope's funeral. Perhaps he was discussing mineral deals here. There he is. It's the respectful thing to do, isn't it? Just pull up a chair in an old basilica somewhere and just natter about minerals.
I think that was the moment where he had a divine revelation. He suddenly realised that Putin might be what we call bad.
I'm just surprised, because he did say that he was going to stop this war between Ukraine and Russia, I think before he even got in office.
Yeah.
Yeah, but look at the weather.
Yeah.
Ukraine supplies 5% of the world's minerals, and you can find the other 95% at Holland and Barrett. Donald Trump's approval ratings after 100 days are the worst of any president at this stage for 80 years. It's not his fault, OK? So who's he blaming?
Oh, fake polls and fake news. Yeah, the polls are fake.
In news, any particular outlets we think that he's targeting?
Is it all of them?
Yes, it's all of them. New York Times, Washington Post, ABC News, and even now Fox News. This is what he wrote on Truth Social. These people should be investigated for election fraud. They are negative criminals. They are sick and are truly the enemy of the people. I wish them well. What did he say about running for a third term recently?
Well, he's not running for anything.
He hasn't ruled it out, is what he said, isn't he?
Yeah.
He absolutely has not ruled it out. He said that would be a big shattering. I doubt he's had one of those for a while. What with that diet. What new product have the Chinese been manufacturing since the US trade war began?
Glee.
Now, their human rights card is far from blemish-free, but I'm rooting for China?
I'm not going to go that far. I'm just going to keep my powder dry on China for a bit. That's all right.
They invented it.
Yes, they did. Hey!
Historical joke, topical show.
What do we think? It's, I'll give you a clue. It's scatological in nature. What have they invented?
My daughter's got a remote-control poo.
She's got remote-controlled poo.
Yeah, one of them. It's sort of like a little poo emoji that you drive around the front room. I assume that... they must come from China. This must be an opportunity to make more.
Is it not from Thames Water?
They have made this rather alarming toilet brush. There it is. He may be faring badly with the electric, but he's still connecting with a few floaters. Keir Starmer seems to be much more keen on appeasing Trump. What is the latest bit of toadying?
Oh, we're going to give him a golf tournament.
Yes, he's trying to persuade the organisers of the Open Golf Tournament to hold the event at one of Trump's golf courses.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then let Trump enter and win.
Possibly.
And then he can wear a green jacket and say, I'm king of the world.
Yeah. Trump Turnberry, where he held a press conference on June the 24th, 2016. A fair while ago now, but since then has said countless times that he flew to the UK the day before Brexit, predicted it was going to happen, and he took a lot of heat, but he was right. He said that to a press conference full of journalists, but nobody pointed out to him, we were all there, mate. It was the day after.
Fake news, fake news.
If you remember, Donald Trump was given a really sensational welcome on his first visit to Turnberry by the late comedian Janie Godley. This is the news that Canada, for so long the butt of jokes for being incredibly dull and boring, has now chosen to be run by a bank manager. Meanwhile, Donald Trump was initially reluctant to sign a deal that only gave him access to Ukraine's titanium and lithium. In the end, he only agreed when Zelensky threw in their entire deposits of made-upium and unobtainium. According to the Daily Mail, Donald Trump may become the 5th president to have his face carved on Mount Rushmore. Though to get the colour right, they really should do it in Australia. Donald Trump told reporters, I'd like to be Pope.
Oh, my God.
Well, he does tick some of the boxes. He thinks he's infallible. He believes he was chosen by God. And he's really comfortable around sexual predators. Paul and Tom, here are yours, my lovelies.
Yes. This is oh, the lights have gone out. So this must be Spain and Portugal. And there's a man directing traffic by everybody ignoring him. And this is when the lights probably came back on again. Is it? No, it isn't. No, it is. It's dark again. There they are. Yeah, Spain and Portugal. They had a massive power cut, didn't they?
It's the whole of Spain just powering down for the afternoon. I've heard of it. I've never seen the pictures. Incredible.
It is the news that a massive power outage caused chaos for millions of people in Spain and Portugal. Transport badly affected. One high-speed train between Seville and Barcelona stopped in the middle of nowhere, and according to The Times, passengers reported being stationary for 2.5 hours with no Wi-Fi or air conditioning, plus the toilets stopped working. It's hard to imagine, isn't it?
What, just 2 hours?
Perhaps the most disturbing sign of societal breakdown, drivers moved uncharacteristically cautiously, stopping courteously for pedestrians. As well as traffic chaos, computer screens died, water wasn't coming out of taps, mobile phone networks went down, and scarily, for those trapped inside, lifts stopped working and all the lights went out. So here's a footage that was sent in to us by one person who had the experience of being trapped in a lift in Barcelona. Thank you for sharing. Mail Online leapt into action at this moment, and they sent an urgent call out to any Brits in Spain without electricity or mobile phone signal. Has your holiday been affected? Get in touch. How? During the 13 hours of ensuing confusion, what unexpectedly became king?
Candles.
Cash.
Candles had a high value.
Yes.
But cash indeed became king. Card machines and tills would not work, so only cash payments were possible. According to The Guardian, Zara shut its flagship store in Madrid, bringing a halt to the panic buying of ruffled crop tops. How did British holiday makers in Benidorm cope?
Well, they're already blacked out.
Well, you're pretty much right, actually. Charlie Robb was enjoying a beer with mates in Benidorm when all the power went off. He told The Sun they just carried on regardless. We only gave up when it got so dark we couldn't see what we were drinking.
They should have had a Bud Light.
Do you know, I'm a real twat because he might have been from Totnes.
Yeah. Wasn't that from Totnes?
It sounded like a real working-class person.
He kept drinking until it got dark.
That's much more authentic.
To be honest, I've drunk in total darkness. It doesn't matter what you're drinking, just grab onto it and neck it. And that's what I said to the arresting officer.
I personally love that Spain was like, we don't really know what happened. And then Portugal goes, it was Spain.
The overriding conspiracy theory here was that the power cut was caused by Ursula von der Leyen feeding it to her Illuminati chums. Here she is.
Please activate the connection.
Wow, the return of Kraftwerk.
That was actually the EU changing its energy supply from Russia to the Baltics.
But they did try and blame it on net zero. And all the papers said, you know, this just shows that Britain should not rely on solar power or alternatives, and net zero is a disaster. Because look at Spain.
I think the most impressive thing about the whole ordeal was that Spain, they got it fixed in a day. And I've never seen anyone in Spain work that hard.
A British audience clapping uncertainly.
So power out for 13 hours. If it happened in the UK, it's thought that restoring it could take how long?
Is it longer than HS2?
Nothing's longer than HS2, Ian. 5 to 7 days.
Is this the same thing that happened to M&S yesterday?
Yes, I mean, it was not a similar...
Because that was a serious... I'm quite interested in this story, but... I mean, there were no tomatoes.
We'll get to... We're going to get to your particular peccadillos and tomatillos.
No,
soon.
I'm just saying there are serious things happening in the world.
What's an essential item to have when the power goes?
A tomato?
No, the audio medium.
Radio?
Indeed, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, they're saying that an essential thing would be a wind-up or a battery.
Oh, yes, you used to get those wind-up radios, didn't you?
Yeah, and that would be the perfect thing, so you could tune into your local radio station, hear what the news is, and when you've listened to that for a couple of hours, a gun.
Wind-up radio would be such a good name for a right-wing radio station. You're listening to Wind-up Radio.
Oh, it makes me hypertensive just thinking about it. I can hear the shock jock in my head. He popped up to offer some encouraging words on renewable energy.
This was Sir Tony Blair.
It was.
He returned to intervene in the debate, and he told the Labour government that they shouldn't bother with net zero because it's unpopular and it's very difficult, and they should calm it down a bit. And the fact that the Tony Blair Institute is very close and takes a lot of funds from the Saudi Arabian government, one of the world's biggest oil producers, probably didn't affect his judgment in the slightest, I would guess.
think he said the rush to net zero is irrational. And in fairness to him, if there's anyone who knows a lot about irrationally rushing into something, he has every right to speak.
Who else suffered the outage, Ian?
Marks and Spencer's.
Correct, yes, it was, yeah.
And what particular vegetable was unavailable?
Well, it could be classed as a fruit, but I'd say...
A boring answer, but in this country we'd be fine because all of our tomatoes are grown with gas. They're in massive greenhouses in Kent. They're powered by gas-fired boilers, and all of the leftover gas is thrown into the greenhouse because plants love carbon dioxide. They're all gas-grown.
I don't like the idea of gaseous tomatoes, do you?
I don't mind. Just any would have been good. Someone was trying to ransom them. Is it called ransomware, malware, clothesware, leisureware? you ruin someone's IT system and then you say, I'll fix it for you, and then you pay. And M&S said no.
But you paid.
Oh, I'd have paid whatever the ransom.
Does anyone know how hackers get through a door that requires a passcode?
An axe.
That would do it. I mean, there's no question.
I would just carry a bunch of stuff and be like, can someone...
And that is exactly the right answer. The best way is to walk up to a door with 2 full cups of coffee and just wait for someone to open it and they'll usher you through. I mean, that's just...
We have a door like that at the House of Commons, whereby you can hold it open for someone, but you're not meant to. And then after an election, it's a bit nerve-wracking because you look at the guy coming behind you like, do I ask that guy if I know who he is? Because I'm pretty sure he might be the Chancellor of the Exchequer.
This is the blackout in Spain. During the blackout, traffic lights stopped working, confusing cyclists who suddenly found themselves with no red lights to ignore. Supermarkets in Madrid soon found their shelves emptied, meaning many Spanish families had to resort to eating nothing but tiny plates featuring a random selection of cold meats, olives, lumps of bread and small pieces of cheese. The end of the blackout was greeted in various ways. According to BBC News, one man started cheering when the washing machine came on again. He then excitedly called his wife through to empty it. Time now for round 2, the strengthometer of news. So fingers on, brothers, my lovelies. Right. Ooh.
Is this fly tipping?
It is fly tipping, yes.
Because apart from tomatoes, fly tipping really annoys me. Keir Starmer's made a big threat, hasn't he? What did he say?
Do you want to see what Keir Starmer's actual tweet said?
Yeah, because it's tough.
Here it is. This is a message to the fly tippers blighting our towns and villages. For too long, your actions have gone unpunished. That ends now. We'll use drones and new tech to identify your vehicle. Then we'll crush it. And I will have my revenge in this life or the next. Meanwhile, in Gaza... So what is so special? We saw a sofa there. What's so special about that sofa?
It's very big, and it must have been a hell of a big vehicle to dump it in Gloucester.
Well, it was tipped on a bit of wasteland just off the B4234, the village of Lidbrook. And since April, it's been attracting tourists. Here is the sofa. It became such a popular spot for locals, they kept adding more to it, including a coffee table, a hat stand, a lampshade, and a potted plant. And an old lady. And there's a character called Tumpsy. Who's Tumpsy and what's he got to do with it?
Is he a local artist?
He's a local artist, yes.
I think he's sort of like, I've gathered more and more items and people are now sort of like, they're all turning up, you know, cheerleaders are turning up in groups to have their photographs taken.
That is exactly right. For those who don't know Tumpsy, he was behind a rash of googly eyes popping up all over the village a couple of years ago, which was not as bad as the rash that went round the village the year previous. Do you want to see his work?
Oh, I'd love to see
Yeah,
that.
well, here it is.
Oh, nice. Tumpsy's had his fun. Now they're going to find him and crush him.
This is the news that a fly-tipped sofa in Gloucestershire became a tourist attraction. Photographer Alex Elton Wall has now taken over 170 portraits of local residents sitting on the abandoned sofa. So they now all have a permanent souvenir, as well as fleas. Whoever dumped the sofa has done it at the perfect time, because I do believe, I might be wrong, that this very week, DFS are having a sale, which must end soon. Fingers on buzzers, teams. Here we go. It's hammer time.
Local elections. There's going to be local elections today, which is Friday. They were yesterday, which was Thursday.
Correct, you're all over it.
We know the results, but it'd be rude to talk about them.
Really rude.
Really rude.
I said that absolutely anything could happen, and it did.
I noticed that dog has got the word friendly written on his lead.
Yes.
Are you convinced?
Well... To be clear, we're recording this on a Thursday. We don't know what the results are. What did election guru Sir John Curtis say was unusual about these particular local elections?
Any one of 5 parties could win?
Yeah, it's a five-way race.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's a 5-way race. And in a historic shift, less than half of the voters were planning to vote for the traditional 2 parties, Labour and the Tories. He said that Labour's support had fallen faster than any previous newly elected government and that reform had murdered the Tories, allowing the Lib Dems to slip through. Did he want to see Lib Dems slipping through?
Yes, please.
Here you go.
Whoa.
Whoa! What name were people giving to a possible reform landslide?
Reform-ageddon. Is it?
According to The Sun, it was called a reform quake.
Oh, nice.
How stupid
That's
of me.
the best they could come up with.
Yeah.
What about the Reformation?
Reformation's much better, yeah.
Yeah, thank you. If only I had a job.
You can go and work for The Sun with a
Be
headline.
serious, Ian. Who's going to give you a job?
Well, you got one as Pope.
It's not been announced.
You've got to wait for the smoke, haven't you? Come on. Soon... Probably safe to say,
Yes.
even with no knowledge whatsoever, Labour have probably had a terrible night of it. Runcorn and Helsby held a by-election after former Labour MP Mike Amesbury thumped one of his constituents in an argument about a bridge. What's the interesting thing about Runcorn?
It doesn't have any bridges.
It was recently voted Britain's most boring place to live.
You go for a quiet beer and you get punched in the face by your MP. What's boring about that?
Although the Telegraph, in reaction to that, did point out the town was once a centre of mustard gas production. It's also probably safe to say the Tories had a bad night. Does anyone know the sign that their heart wasn't really in it?
Was their campaign manager went abroad?
That's exactly right. Do you know... Mrs Baroness McLean, do you know where she went?
Was it Finland?
The Himalayas. How did Tory MP Andrew Mitchell try and boost morale in the run-up?
Did he sing? Did he have a video where he was singing and dancing?
No, he spoke a bit of Latin and swore a bit.
Oh, OK.
Yeah, he said, pro bono publico, don't bloody panico. So pro bono publico, Ian, how would you translate that?
It means that the lead singer of U2 runs a pub.
You weren't interested in the real answer, were you?
No.
Go on, tell me. Come on, fact me up.
For the good of the public, don't panic. And the idea that the Conservative MP is talking about the public good is odd. Sorry, that's bias.
Well, he was actually quoting an old Tory MP called Rear Admiral Sir Morgan Giles. He'd obviously done something to upset his parents.
Yes. or when he was christened, the priest had a stutter.
Is it over for Kemi Badenoch?
Yeah.
Correct.
I like this idea that they're talking about potentially doing a pact, like a Tory, a Tory reform pact. They won't quite say if it's going to happen, how it will work. But the Tories have got one party and they change leader every 10 minutes. Farage, one leader, the party changes every 10 minutes. If they could come together, they could be like the Trigger's broom of politics. There's nothing they couldn't do.
What would we call the party if they join up together? The Refectory.
The Refectory.
I'm just personally enjoying listening to the fact that you guys don't have it figured out either. You know, America's falling apart, and it's nice to know that, you know...
We're doing it in a minor key.
Our deterioration is done with politeness in the main.
Yeah.
Yes.
Keep calm and deteriorate.
Yes. Fingers on buzzers. Oh, where's my hammer?
Oh, there it is.
Yeah, Ian.
This is a story about swearing being good for you.
I'll give it, yes, absolutely, yeah. It actually makes you stronger.
Oh, does it?
Do you swear much? I've never heard you swear.
Oh, all the time. Bother.
Scientists at the University of Kiel in Amsterdam gave participants a grip strength test.
Yeah.
And they were stronger while repeatedly saying a swear word. Much to the horror, of course, of the volunteers taking part in the aggression sensitivity workshop next door. So swearing, apparently, while you perform a task makes you happier and more positive. And it also frees us of self-control and inhibitions in a similar way to alcohol, which explains, of course, why I'm happiest naked at 2 a.m. opening a jar of fucking pickles. While we're on the subject, would anyone like to see Brian Blessed, an early adopter, as we know of this theory, putting his hand in a bucket of ice?
Yes, please.
Yes.
Here it is.
Can you give me a word that you might use?
Yes, I said bollocks, fuck it.
Just one word.
Bollocks.
OK.
Bollocks. Oh, bollocks. Bollocks. Is that all I can say? Bollocks?
So.
No, bollocks. Bollocks!
I see this is happening in a theatre, but it is a radical interpretation of King Lear that we're...
Is that Royal Albert Hall?
Yeah, we always do stuff like that. I mean, that's classic. That's classic British entertainment.
Oh, okay.
He sold that out for 6 months.
That's how we celebrate a new monarch coming to the throne.
Time now for the odd one out round. Just one between you this week, and it is Anne Boleyn's fingers, murders in Midsummer, Elon Musk's progeny, and penises on the Bayeux Tapestry.
Well, Anne Boleyn was reputed to have 6 fingers.
Yes.
She didn't, but it was made up later by Catholic writer.
I think she was meant to have 11.
Sorry?
I think she was meant to have 11.
You're quite right.
We'll take over from here.
Finally, some sense.
Carry on, you Busford.
No, it's something...
I want to hear you talking about Midsummer Murders like you've ever heard of it before.
With the Bayeux Tapestry, they discovered, some academic says, that man has a penis on display, and everybody else said, look, come on, it's a scabbard. He's clearly somewhere to keep his sword. And he said, no, it's an undiscovered penis, so there's one more penis on the Bayeux Tapestry. They're quite a lot, but this is an extra. So I'm thinking, with Anne Boleyn, I'm thinking the connection is extra numbers...
Extra bits.
Extra bits.
OK.
And Elon Musk has over 8 million children.
And he gives birth to them by them coming out the back of his neck. And there you can see one there emerging into the world.
He has a disputed number of children, I think.
Yes.
So I would think that 3 of them are in dispute, whereas in Midsummer Murders, there is a hell of a lot of murders, but there's a clear figure. So it could be Midsummer Murders.
Is exactly the right answer. You're absolutely right. The total number of all of them is disputed, apart from murders in Midsummer. It's witnessed exactly 388 murders, although the most common cause of death amongst its viewers, old age. What are some of the more unusual implements used to murder victims?
Someone definitely died with a wheel of cheese involved, I'm sure.
They did, yes. They were crushed by a truckle of blue cheese. And being submerged in a bowl of hard-boiled eggs.
And forgot the safe word, presumably.
Yes. One death in...
Everybody's watching to see the fallout, even when you're sleeping, sleeping. Keep your eyes open. Keep your eyes open. Keep your eyes open. Keep your feet ready, heartbeat steady. Keep your eyes open. Keep your aim locked, the night goes dark. Keep your lights open. Everybody's waiting for you to...
Involved a tumble dryer. Let's have a look at this.
Was the whole body in there?
Could have shrunk in the wash first.
Now, the the number of penises embroidered on the Bayeux tapestry. One medieval scholar, Dr. George Garnett, thought he'd put the matter to bed 6 long years ago when he totted up a total of 93 penises. 5 men, 88 horses. Yeah. However, his medievalist rival, Dr. Christopher Monk, he's an expert on Anglo-Saxon nudity.
That's what he tells the wife.
He recently spotted a missed penis, which has taken the total to a whacking great 94.
I'm hoping that that is not a penis in the tapestry because it looks rather infected.
Yeah.
It looks like one of those things you see in fog with a red light on the top of it to let you know it's there.
Penis beacons.
That's it, penis beacons, yeah. Cock lights.
Classic foggy cock light.
Yes. I used to go out with his sister.
So... Professor Garnett, who's written a paper describing 93 penises he's discovered on the tapestry, said he believed that the original designer had an obsession with male genitalia. All right, mate, you're the one counting them.
I think this is a common thing that men do, is that they think, you know, we'd like to see their penises a lot. They send us all these pictures of them.
You suggesting the tapestry is one giant dick pic?
What's up with Anne Boleyn's fingers?
6 on one hand, 5 on the other,
Yeah.
said. But they were trying to make her out to be a witch.
You're right. It was vengeful Catholic historians trying to sully her reputation after the fact. Anne Boleyn is rumoured to have had 6 fingers, making her the only person who could possibly count the number of wives Henry had on one hand. Why don't people know how many children Elon Musk has got?
Doesn't he believe that he needs a legion? He keeps using this word, a legion of children,
does.
in order to repopulate the globe in his own image, because only when everyone is like Musk will humanity... I can't even finish the sentence.
He's said to have been offering his sperm to friends.
Just a sherry for me.
Well, according to somebody at the Wall Street Journal, what did he say to one of his alleged baby mamas, Ashley St Clair?
I saw this, but I can't remember what it was. It was something particularly charmless, I remember that.
You're absolutely right, it was charmless. He said they need to have 10 children together, adding, we need to reach legion level before the apocalypse. We're going to need surrogates. The old romantic.
Yeah.
Time now for the Missing Words round, which this week features as its guest publication, Openings, the magazine of the British Blind and Shutter Association. And we're going to start with, for just 40 quid, you could bag the chance to enjoy what? Just off the M5 motorway.
For just £40, you could bag the chance to enjoy the sexual advances of Giles Band... Oh, no, forget it.
Even the thought of it, you can't get through the sentence.
For just 40 quid, you could bag the chance to enjoy the sexual favours of Giles Brandreth just off the M5 motorway, is what I was going to say, but obviously I won't say that now. For just 40 quid, you could bag the chance to enjoy the latest... Hello, what happened there?
Deviation.
The answer is a murder mystery night with the British Blind and Shutter Association. Next, disco singer what? Outside fish and chip shop in Aberdeen.
Battered.
Told he looks like Elon Musk. Yeah, here is Luxembourgish singer Hugo One.
Yes.
He does, the guy on the left. He
Yeah.
looks a lot like him.
He does, yeah. Next, what's mistaken for rubbish and thrown in the bin?
Love Island.
Our Declaration of Independence.
Andy Warhol prints.
Do you know what?
Yes, right, no,
It's
the sort
right.
of story, yeah.
It's Andy Warhol. It's the rare portrait of former Dutch Queen Beatrix before it was taken out with the bins. According to The Star, the town's mayor, Hans van der Pas, was red-faced. But it was a Warhol, so there was also one of him. Blue-faced, yellow-faced and pink-faced. Next. The 1988 British Blind and Shutter show in Solihull is remembered for what?
It's remembered for both its opening and its closing.
Hey.
George Whitaker's impression of Disraeli.
Well, if it was in Solihull, it was probably remembered for it being the last time the bins were collected.
Well, the answer is the torrential rain which turned the car park into a quagmire.
Yeah.
That's news.
Yeah.
The non-stop rain made it a bad day for fans of blinds and shutters, and it certainly was curtains for the barbecue. Next, the 100th birthday of the chocolate digestive was celebrated with what?
A mass dunking. Tips on how to eat them properly, because you're meant to eat the sort of like with the chocolate bit at the bottom and the plain bit at the top, according to the manufacturers.
I read this recently, and it was an abomination to me.
Yeah, I know. Doesn't
Did you
make
try
sense.
it?
No, I wouldn't do that.
Neither would I.
That's akin to Satanism.
I totally agree. It's a biscuit portrait of Sir Trevor MacDonald.
Should be Sir Trevor McVittish.
Next, Jeremy Vine once what in a park in Chine?
Hyperventilated. Relieved himself. Defected to the Russians. Spotted a squirrel looking at him funny.
The actual answer is disguised 20 tins of tomato as nuclear waste.
Can I say that's an enormous waste?
He did it in 1980,
Yeah.
but radiation stickers on the tins. The police cordoned off the area, worried that they would go off, which, to be fair, they probably have by now. Next, night vision camera captures beaver in Cornwall. What?
Splitting the atom.
A second home. They're barely there most of the year.
The answer is breaking wind. Do you want to see the video? Yep, a clip there from David Attenborough's new series, Blue Off Planet. So, finally, there's a saying in the shutter community, the bigger your window...
The wider your wall.
The bigger the window, the more likely it's a door.
The bigger the window, the more likely Putin will throw you out.
Well, that's a saying in the shutter community.
It is.
You were all sort of in the right ballpark. The answer is the bigger
weren't.
your Louvre need to be.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you are wondering what a Louvre shutter is, it's a stroppy French bloke telling you the gallery's closing just as you get to the Mona Lisa.
I'm still wondering what one is.
The Louvre. Oh, I think it's one of those ones. So it's fixed blinds, and then you have like a stick, and
stick.
Yeah, and it.
And the fabric goes.
Oh, we of course have a different name in America.
What's it called?
I think it's like a cottage shutter.
No, we don't have that. That's no, we. That's very different in our nation.
But you can't go blind.
Final scores. Oh, we have Ian and Michelle on 5, and Paul and Tom also on 5. It's a dead heat. Well done.
I so nearly won.
I wasn't helpful on that one.
On which note, we say thank you to our panellists, Ian Hislop and Michelle Wolfe, and Paul Merton and Tom Peck. And I leave you with news that at an interactive Only Fools and Horses event, staff carefully position the audience as the actors prepare to perform the famous chandelier scene. At Tate Modern, visitors are baffled by a new exhibit called simply Fabricant. And in the Loire Valley, there is a moment of embarrassment for the height-sensitive Emmanuel Macron as a photographer captures him inspecting the asparagus crops. Good night.